All right, let's get right into this. Welcome back to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking an absolute engineering marvel. And the crazy thing? It's completely invisible. Picture this. You're standing right in the middle of Tokyo. Millions of people are just going about their day all around you. Everything seems perfectly normal. But what you don't see is this massive secret infrastructure project working silently right beneath your feet. It's a system with one single, incredibly vital purpose, and that's keeping 40 million people from drowning.
Because while you've got bullet trains racing at like 300 kilometers an hour up on the surface and skyscrapers reaching up into the clouds, there is this dark, cavernous world sitting completely hidden beneath it all, literally 50 meters underground. Down there, you'll find these massive concrete pillars that look like they belong in some ancient temple, along with tunnels stretching for over 6 kilometers. It's basically a subterranean leviathan just waiting in the pitch black.
Which really begs the question, right? Why build a secret city beneath another city? I mean, why would Japan, one of the wealthiest, most technologically advanced nations on the planet, pour billions of dollars into a massive underground world that almost no one will ever lay eyes on? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at what Tokyo is actually up against.
Section 1. A recipe for disaster. Tokyo's fragile ground.
So, to really grasp this mystery, we first need to understand the geographical and, frankly, climatic nightmare that threatens not just Tokyo, but honestly, the stability of the global economy itself. Tokyo is home to nearly 40 million people. It's literally the largest metropolitan area on Earth. Trillions of dollars flow through its markets. But this incredible city sits on surprisingly fragile ground. Historically, you see, Tokyo was built on these vast floodplains. But over the decades, as it expanded into the mega metropolis we know today, all those natural water-absorbing wetlands just vanished. Concrete totally replaced the forests. And here's the kicker. When you pave over the earth, rainwater can't soak into the ground naturally anymore. Instead, every single drop rushes straight toward the rivers.
And what makes all that concrete sprawl so much more dangerous is Japan's totally unique geography. Look at this breakdown. 70% of Japan is mountainous. Only 30% is other terrain, like the plains where Tokyo actually sits. So what does that mean? It means when it rains, the water doesn't just pool up. Torrential rain races downhill at incredible speeds, picking up crazy momentum, and it funnels straight toward those densely populated plains.
And that brings us to the core threats here. Japan gets hit by some of the absolute most powerful storms on Earth. We're talking extreme typhoons that dump months' worth of rain in just a matter of days. But the real terror for Tokyo? Extreme floods there don't always just sweep in from the sea. They actually come from dozens of rivers converging on the city at the exact same time. Plus, warming oceans are increasing the atmosphere's capacity to hold moisture, which just makes these storms so much worse. So the bottom line is this. Engineers looked at this evolving nightmare and realized, hey, building higher walls and wider rivers, it just isn't going to cut it anymore. They were literally running out of space.
Section 2. The Underground Cathedral. Hidden Defenses.
Okay, so being totally out of space on the surface, Japan made this shocking, honestly radical decision that very few countries would ever even consider. If they couldn't build up or out, they were going to build their defenses deep below ground. Officially, it's called the Metropolitan Area Outer Underground Discharge Channel. Yeah, I know, it is a total mouthful. But essentially, it's this enormous 50-meter-deep flood control system beneath suburban Tokyo, and it's designed to redirect millions of tons of water. It is a subterranean marvel unlike absolutely anything else in the world.
To actually capture all those overflowing rivers, the system uses 5 massive vertical shafts, and their sheer scale is, well, it's just mind-boggling. Each one of these shafts is 65 meters deep. To put that into perspective for you, that's like dropping an 18-story building straight down into the earth, and they're over 30 meters wide. You could comfortably fit the entire pedestal of the Statue of Liberty inside just one of them. Insane, right?
So, when the floodwater drops into those shafts, it travels through this giant 6-kilometer underground tunnel until it reaches the main space, the pressure control chamber. People famously call this the underground cathedral. And looking at these dimensions, you can see why. It's 177 meters long, 78 meters wide, and 25 meters high. But what really gives it that cathedral vibe are the nearly 60 giant concrete pillars holding up the ceiling. Every single one weighs hundreds of tons. When you stand inside, it doesn't even feel like modern flood defense. It feels like this secret, ancient temple built by giants.
Section 3. How it saves Tokyo. Controlling floods.
So how does this massive cavern actually, work? Well, every single piece of this structure, every tunnel, every massive pillar, has a super specific job. It isn't just about holding millions of tons of water, it's about carefully slowing it down and stripping away its immense pressure. The mechanics are actually this brilliantly straightforward hydrological process. Step 1. A heavy storm hits, and overflowing rivers divert their excess water right into those 65-meter deep shafts. Step 2. That water travels through the 6-kilometer tunnel network. Step 3. It hits the pressure control chamber, our cathedral, where those giant pillars regulate the pressure and just kill the destructive momentum of the water. And finally, Step 4. Turbines pump that water safely into the much larger Edo River, which carries it harmlessly out to sea.
I actually want to pause on step 4 for a second, because the pumping station is just as incredible as the cathedral itself. Inside that station are these roaring turbines powered by absolute behemoths, literally aircraft-sized engines. When these things fire up, they don't just move water, they completely dominate it. We're talking about moving an entire Olympic swimming pool's worth of water every few seconds. It's this staggering, high-speed display of raw power, all engineered just to protect the city above.
But honestly, the most beautiful part of this entire system, it's when the engineering becomes completely invisible. This massive relocation of millions of liters of water happens with such incredible precision, and it goes totally unnoticed by the public. Up on the surface, trains just keep moving. Businesses open their doors. Hospitals stay accessible. The financial markets don't miss a beat. Life just goes on. It really goes to show that the absolute best infrastructure becomes completely invisible, working quietly in the dark to keep the city alive.
Section 4. The future of flooding. Adapting to nature. So what happens next? Because look, as much as the underground cathedral is an absolute masterpiece, even Japan knows that this 50-meter deep fortress alone isn't a silver bullet for our rapidly changing climate. Rainfall records are breaking constantly all over the globe, and urban populations just keep growing. More buildings mean more concrete, which means less absorbent ground. So Japan is shifting to a multifaceted defense strategy. They aren't putting all their eggs in the cathedral's basket anymore. Engineers are out there redesigning rivers, upgrading street-level drainage, building smaller underground reservoirs, and even creating flood parks that are literally designed to flood safely during big storms. They're also heavily investing in much smarter forecasting tech. The whole philosophy is shifting, right? From trying to fight and conquer nature to learning how to intelligently live alongside it.
Which really leaves us with this final, kind of striking thought. The next time you're looking at a glittering city skyline, remember Tokyo. Because as climate change forces cities all over the world to drastically rethink how they defend themselves, Tokyo's hidden cathedral proves a really powerful point. Tomorrow's greatest cities aren't just going to survive by building upward into the sky, they're probably going to have to survive by growing deeper underground. And it really makes you wonder, what will the cities of our future actually look like right beneath our feet?